everybody. Welcome to week 2 of what I'm going to say is the Gathering Girl podcast, even though there's only going to be like 4 weeks of it. But you never know. Maybe in the future, we'll do more. But this week we have a very interesting topic. Personally, it was, I think, one of the topics where I got asked the most questions on, more than any topic that we got. I don't know, Amy, about you when you posted it on social media, but this one was the one that got the most DMs. And today we're going to be talking about friendship.
Yay. Come on, guys.
Wait, so
I'm excited.
Should you introduce your bestie, or like just give her a shout and then she can talk a little bit about herself? What she
can do all.
No. So this is my friend Demi. Go ahead. They already know me. They already know that I'm Greta.
Okay, what do they want to know?
Your name, girl.
Okay. My name is Demi. I come to the gathering. Yeah. I'm Greta's bestie.
That's a tag.
Go ahead.
This is my best friend Tiffany, which I'm so happy she's on the pod today. Want to tell them who you are?
Oh, my name's Tiffany. I'm Amy's bestie.
That's great.
I'm starting so awkward.
It's all right. It's going to be good.
Okay. How about I tell you guys a little bit about how me and Amy met. So me and Amy met back when we were really young.
Kids. She doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, so we grew up in church together, but we really didn't spend much time close enough together. But we knew of each other. Fast forward to maybe, what age? Maybe 21? 19? Oh, 19.
That's when I started preaching.
Around 19, we had left our church, and we were in our own separate paths and walks with God. And we found ourselves outside of the church, just getting back together and catching up, and we built this friendship together out of, I guess, different walks and seasons of lives. I was in a very hard moment in my life, and she was also dealing with a very personal moment in her life, and it was ironic enough that we became close through those...
through the pain.
Yeah, through the pain, and we didn't even know it. I never thought that the girl that I had left at church,
her trauma came with her.
I didn't know you were actually this cool. Like, we could have actually been friends this whole time. But no, yeah, we got close afterwards, and I started to see how Jesus was moving, how the Lord was moving in her life during that time of her life. And it really inspired me and motivated me to get deeper into my faith, even though I was going through things in that season. And I was there supporting her. She was supporting me, and God was doing something through that friendship that I didn't even know what was happening, but it was healing some part of us that we didn't know that we needed for each other. And then, yeah, the rest was history. So I think she says that, how many years of friendship do we have?
I think since 7 years old, but she doesn't want to count it like
that. Yeah. I want to say we're going on 9 years, 9 years strong. Yeah.
What are you guys going to do for your 10th year anniversary?
I'm already planning some things. A little getaway.
Oh my gosh.
So Demi and I have been friends for 5 years because it's the age of Zoe. And actually, it's 3 of us. It's Demi, myself, and Viv. Shout out Viv. We, I think, found each other kind of exactly like you guys did. Truly, I wasn't really looking for connections. I was postpartum. I was like fresh. And I remember that it was like it was a really dark time in my life, because remember I had Zoe, and then my brother-in-law was like murdered I think when Zoe was like 3 months. And then after I had Zoe, she was in the NICU for a little bit. It was just a whole ordeal of things. And truly, like, we weren't in each other's lives before that. We were going to the same church, but I like to think that, I'll be honest, sometimes you have people right in front of you and you don't see them because you might be looking in the wrong direction, or you just are longing for something different and you can't even see what God has put before you. But I remember that it was the loneliest season of my life. And I went through a season where I understood that I had a lot of like, they're not bad people, but like just like I had developed a lot of superficial relationships that didn't like, as much as we could hang out, nothing like the birth of a daughter and the death of somebody in your family reveals to you like the substance of the friendship. And because everybody can go and meet your kid, but like months later to still check up on you. But it was a really, really dark time in my life. I went through really bad like postpartum, just like depression and stuff like that. And Demi was the one that made the first move. Because I don't know if you remember, but I was just really discouraged and truly like I was just not in a place where I wanted to seek friendships. But Demi messaged me and she was kind of checking up on me. And then I don't remember your exact words, but you kind of said that there was more friendships out there for me, you know? And long story short, I was just like, okay. At that time, I think you were barely going to start dating Tyrone or something like that. And
Insider, that's her husband.
yeah, Tyrone is her husband.
Which is her best friend. Like,
yeah, like Tyrone and I have been friends for way before that. But yeah, Tyrone couldn't meet the need that I had, like as like I needed like a woman, you know? And so I really came to realize in that area of my life that I really didn't have any women connections or anything like that that were enough to sustain me through the season. I didn't feel like I had, well, that season revealed to me that I didn't have women that actually cared for me like that. And so it was a really dark time in my life. And I'll never forget one of the first memories that I have of Demi, which like, I don't even know how you ended up in my house. But
I think I was already dating Tyrone.
But I just remember that it was a night where Zoe had not slept. And she was crying. I don't know if you remember. She was crying and crying and crying. And I didn't know what was wrong with her. And Demi came and Demi said, oh, she has colics or something. And my sister buys this medicine. And I remember that my husband and Tyrone stayed with Zoe and she was crying. And Demi drove me to Target. And she got me that medicine. And like she was just talking to me. And I don't know. I was in such a blur. But then she got the medicine, gave it to the baby. The baby stopped crying. And from there, she started to check up on me. And also our other friend, Viv, I don't know what caused it in her, but she started to check up on me too. And so I don't even know how it came to be, honestly, because that season of my life was so blurry. But us three decided to start hanging out. And we decided to start going to sushi. And I think I and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I had shared with her and with Viv that I was like really depressed and I was not in a good place. And I think the checkup was the once a month and we would go. And so it's funny because like I felt like because I was in a point in my life where I was realizing, oh, all my relationships were superficial, that when I started to go out with them, I was like, okay, I have two options. Like I'm going to be superficial here too. Or we just be completely honest about where we are. Like, I'm a mess, you know? Like, my family's a mess. Like, I'm a mess. And so if I'm honest, then maybe I'll reap different fruit. And that's, at first, our sushi nights were, like, awkward. Because, like, I think all of us were going through some deep things. And me and Viv were in the same worship team. So that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you could have the answer right in front of you. But because you're looking in the wrong direction, like, you can't even see what God has placed there. And so, yeah, I think that this friendship was birthed in a very confusing time for me. And now, man, we've experienced so much stuff together in these last 5 years. But truly, I feel like I'm in a season for the very first time in my life where I can genuinely say, like, I have friends.
You have a bestie?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. I think that we were both like in such a lonely season where we realized like the people that we were surrounded by truly didn't know us. And it's not to bash, but like I think that
we have friendships, and it's a reflection of what we like allow. So I think that like a lot of my friendships were very superficial. So then when I met Greta and we started hanging out and we were like, okay, once a month we're gonna check in, I think that it was a decision of like, okay, like this is the one friendship where I'm just gonna like be super transparent with and see what happens. I've already tried everything else and I've like had really crappy relationships. So like let me see if this one time where like I can let somebody in, if it's not gonna fail. And ever since then, I think that sushi nights are like our non-negotiables, even being married. Like that's the one thing where we're like, every month we will be intentional and go and catch up because life gets super busy.
Yeah, like Viv didn't have her boyfriend. You weren't married. I was the only one that was married with kids. But we made a promise to each other. Like neither of us had all that time, but we made a promise that once a month we would go in and that was going to be our date. It was going to be our non-negotiable. And when we got there, it was going to be honest, to the point. Like it wasn't about talking about anybody, but it was about truly like checking in on each other and seeing where we were. And we have gone out once a month for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And obviously we go out more than that sometimes, but it is the one day that we have kept religiously. And it has shown me like the depth that you could have with people. And so I think that when we posted this, right, and I put about friendships, one of the things that I got a lot, and we were talking about it before we went on camera, but let's be honest, women growing connections with other women is one of the hardest things. And I also think that as much as everybody likes the idea of growing in relationship with somebody, you know, because everybody wants, you know, once they see a friendship, and I want to start it like this, okay? Because there was a consistent thing that I got of like, oh, in church, there's cliques, right? That is one of my pet peeves. That's one of my pet peeves. Because I think it's easy to point out a relationship that, like, something that maybe your heart longs for. And instead of being like, man, I wonder how they got there, right? I'm not saying that in church there cannot be people who don't want to hang out with people or are exclusive or want nothing to do with people. Of course, those things always exist. But I think for the majority of time, nobody's there being like, yeah, you know, this is a clique. I think that now, 5 years later, people can look at us. 9 years later, people can look at you guys and be like, oh, yeah, that's a clique. Without understanding, like, wait, nobody set out for this to be a clique. So I think, number one, there's this misconception that, or this expectation that people put, and I'm going somewhere with this, and I want y'all to catch my drift, you know? I think that there's an expectation over the church that people don't have anywhere else. To where when you come to church, you're expected to be friends with everybody. And I think that that's very unrealistic. Nobody goes to work and says, now everybody has to be my friend. Even when we went to high school, or nobody goes in there being like, yeah, the whole school has to talk to each other. But for some reason, there's that expectation at church. Like when you come to church, you know, everybody has to be friends. And I think that's unrealistic because there's different personalities, there's different characters. And I think that it's impossible at this point in the gathering. Sometimes we're hitting maybe like almost 400 people. It would be impossible for the 400 people to develop like a deep connection with each other. Now, I think that is like I want to dare to say that sometimes even when you come with that attitude, you already closed off your heart to friendships or relationships that the Lord could build in your life. Or sometimes can we say that you might be looking in such a wrong direction in people that you like, no, I want that one, you know, without realizing like me. Hey, the Lord has put somebody right in your team or like right there in front of your face, and you can't embrace it because you're already coming with this personality of, oh, everybody has cliques, I'm never going to belong. Can we say that one of the hindrances for a lot of women is that before they can even develop a connection, they already have a bad perspective on it?
Yes. I think that when we have like these predisposed ideas, it keeps us from really diving into what God wants for you. For example, she said earlier, like, she was the girl that came out of the church that I left. Like, we could have easily chosen the predisposed idea. We both came from there. We don't want to continue this further because we're going to perpetuate the story that we came from. And so when we have those ideas, and that's in anything, like, you can have a predisposed idea to church, a predisposed idea to pastors, a predisposed idea to small groups. You can have a predisposed idea to even your job, like all those things, and they'll cause you to not enjoy where you're at. It'll cause you to close your ears even when God is trying to speak to you. It'll cause you to not have the relationships that God wants for you. And I think one of the reasons that we have these predisposed ideas is because we know that anything that is worthwhile takes an investment.
Yes.
And it's going to take something from you. And a lot of us have been either in or around one-sided things where it's like, tend to me, baby me, fix me, help me,
Choose
enjoy,
me.
and choose me. That, I live with that one.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
That's good, that's good, that's good. I'm okay with that one. I'm okay with that one. But
Glad y'all got the reference.
yeah. And so when we have that, it's like, you don't want the investment. You don't want to pour yourself into somebody else. And so when we have those ideas, yeah, it's going to rip some part away from you. It's going to keep you away from the ability to have friends and to make friends and to put yourself out there. Because at the end of the day, it's not only that, but it's also fear of putting yourself out there. Well, what if they knew? And what if they knew my stuff? What if they knew my mess? And this is just my suggestion. Don't be saying your mess to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Be so sure who you're saying your stuff to. For me personally, like, this is something I'm deeply passionate about, and I've had a lot of discussions with her that I don't call everyone my friends. Just the same way, I think that we've taken such a, well, when you're choosing a relationship or someone that you're with, you want to be so sure, and you want to be so sure of the title that you're putting on that person. And you check off the boxes, and you're looking if they have the qualities, and you're being diligent, or at least I hope you're being diligent with who you're deciding to do life with in that way romantically. But then for some reason, friends, we're just okay with calling anybody that. We're okay with letting anybody speak into our lives. And so I personally made like a category in my life. I have friends, and I believe friends are those that you can speak into their life, and they can speak into your life. And if we don't have that reciprocity, then we're not friends. Then there's the other level that I have where we're just acquaintances. I see you every now and then. I might know some things about you. I'll hug you, or I'll give you a whatever, high five, whatever it is, because you're familiar and I see you. And if you wanted to grab coffee, we can do that. But that doesn't mean I'm automatically going to lay everything before you, because that doesn't exist yet. It can, like, acquaintance can kind of graduate into being a friend, but when we don't segment it that way, and we don't have our boundaries, and you also don't want to give an investment, then what are you trying to get out of this? You're not going to get much.
And I think it's also easy to become a superficial friend when you have a lot of friends, because then there's not really those people that you are super transparent with, and you just become this like, oh, hey girl, how you doing? Like, let's go get coffee. And we post about it, and that's it. But nobody really knows your real struggles. There's nobody there in your corner that when things get tough, when marriage gets hard, when you're in a season of whatever, like, you have nobody, because all you had was this superficial friendship that you didn't take time to invest in.
I think that the moment that I stopped wanting to be popular and I wanted to be known, like, that's the moment where I finally let somebody in. Because the truth of the matter is that a full agenda or a full calendar, that's easy. Like, having, like, every week you're going out with so-and-so person, like, that's easy. Posting it on Instagram, having selfies with one another, that's the easy part.
Real best friends don't have that many pictures.
No, literally.
No, literally. Especially friends that serve. Like that, everybody in the event took a picture, except for y'all, because y'all were busy. But no, truly, like, I think that if we're honest, if more people were honest with themselves, I think in order to even develop like a real deep friendship with somebody, you have to be honest with what you want. And I do believe that as much as some people say, no, I want a deep connection with a friend, the truth of the matter is that no, you want to be popular. Like you owe everybody like, and at least I'll speak for myself. At some point, I prided myself on how many people went out to dinner with me or how many people I posted with or just posting the moment and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I was in like rock bottom where I was like, who is actually on my phone that if I text like, I'll be transparent. After I had Zoe, the most delightful idea in my mind was to go to the backyard and hang myself from the swing set, like from my neck, you know? That was, and anybody postpartum, I know you guys have never been there, but like, and I hope you guys never go through
We
that.
just gotta clarify. Greta be laughing at things that are really dark
but but anyways, like that was the most appetizing idea for me. And then I realized like outside of my husband, there was no one that I would be that honest with. There was no one where I'd be like, no, I'm struggling. Like I know I'm singing. I know I'm like, no, I'm struggling. Like I'm going home and I'm struggling. Like I'm feeding my baby and I'm struggling. And I realized like, oh, there's no one. And I'll never forget it. And it has nothing to do with other people or other relationships. But even when I remember opening up about this area, having a person that I thought was my deep friend saying, they said, well, you know, it's really hard to be there for you guys because you guys are so hard to love. And I was in the depth of like my postpartum-ish, my husband's going crazy because his brother got murdered and stuff like that. And that's when I realized, oh my God, like I have a lot of friends I can hang out with. And I've been so concerned with my agenda being full and my house being full that it never occurred to me that there was no debt. As soon as I could not hang out, as soon as I could not, you know, do like, there was no one going to be knocking at my door. And so I think that ever since then, my whole life changed. My perspective on friendships changed in the fact where I was like, okay, you can be popular or you can go deep. And going deep is not going to happen with 20 people. That doesn't happen. You know, you cannot cultivate like a real, maybe somebody's discovered it, you know? But I don't think that it is possible to have 20, 30 people and you really can confide your whole heart to, like your whole marriage problems, like your deepest fears. Like, I don't think that that's possible. And I think a lot of people are so worried about quantity instead of like, no. I rather have one than 12, like, or 13. We're always posting and I'd rather have one. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned. And that's not just saying, oh, those other people were wrong. No, I was wrong too. Because what I was looking for in a person, you know, or what I was looking for in a friendship had nothing to do with what could be sustained through the hard seasons of life. Do you guys believe that sometimes we are so focused on the kind of man that we want and we don't ever pray to God or have something before God where we're like, Lord, this is the kind of friend that not only do I want to be, but that I want you to help me find in my life.
You know, I always say a lot on this, but what do you think, Tiff?
What was the question?
Like sometimes women have all these like they're so focused could be on our romantic relationship. Mm-hmm. They have a list of what they want in a man and what they need in a man. And you never ever consider that there is more relationships than that. Yeah. And like you have no focus on like, man, what kind of friendship do I want to have?
I understand your question now. So I do think there's a lot of women that do idolize relationships, romantic relationships, that they miss the point that sometimes those relationships, yes, they are a part of life, but also having good quality friendships are also an added, thing to life that is actually very healthy and very necessary. I think especially a Christian relationship, a God-centered relationship, is very edifying to your life, because you pour into your friend and they pour into you, and when you go through seasons, they go through seasons with you. And that's like the beautiful thing of you feeling like you're never alone. Yes, we have the Lord, but sometimes you need that reminder of someone who's always got your back, who's always there praying for you, who's intentional of what their words of encouragement to you, because sometimes you kind of need that in those difficult seasons. So I do feel that Amy's a great example of a solid friendship, in a godly friendship. We do pour into each other a lot, as much as we may go through different seasons in life. But I've actually always questioned that with her, because we're a very different life. We have a very different walk of life, and yet, however, she does ministry. She does ministry different, and I do ministry different. Mm-hmm. And as different as it is, it's actually like refreshing. I think I'm a refreshment to her, because she doesn't have to deal with the ministry side, but then she's refreshing to me because I see what ministry is with her. And so I just think it's important to have godly friendships. Very important.
When I really started in ministry, like she said, she came in a hurtful time in my life where all the people that I grew up with in church that you believe these are your friends. Mm-hmm. From one day to the next, they're just not there. Mm-hmm. And in that moment when that was happening, it was almost, it's okay. Like, it's okay to not have that. And it was because I had the Lord. But little did I know that behind the scenes, God was preparing someone that was going to face these battles with me. Because the truth of the matter is, like, and you probably can speak into this, Greta, like, not everyone can walk with you in your anointing, and not everyone can see you off of a platform and you're a completely different person, like, than you are there. And it's not because your morals are different or your character is different, but just because life is actually happening. And there's things that you're going through and things that you want to say and things that you want to do that have nothing to do with ministry. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I think that God provided to me was an escape, where I didn't have to have a ministry cap on, and I didn't have to be constantly giving like advice. Early on when we were in church, like we had what was it, like 2 years we were trying to find church and doing all of that.
In our initial walk.
Yeah, in our initial walk. And when we got to one, I started telling her, like, I don't want to hang out with certain people after Sundays, because I feel like I sit with them and it becomes a counseling session. And I thought they wanted to be friends. And after a few times, I'm like, that's one thing when somebody asks you, hey, I'm going through something, do you want to meet up? Your mind goes with, that's what we're meeting for. Mm. But when you put it under the guise of a friendship, it doesn't function. And then with her, I got to experience, we can minister to each other, but we can also be real with each other. And when I was, going through the different motions of what ministry looks like, what calling looks like, I honestly, this is true. Like, I wouldn't even have made it on social media had it not been for her. She's the one that told me to do it. I was in a really dark moment because I had spent 5 years being a high school campus missionary, and she was there too. Like, she was there to hand out pizzas and to give out, the flyers. And when they literally in every single season, she was there. When I started preaching in homes, and this is when we were friends yet, I called her and I was like, hey, Tiffany, and I had her number, and I was like, do you think I can come preach at your house? And I thought, this is a long shot. Like, she's not going to tell me yes. And she goes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And for the next 2 years, I was preaching at her house. 2-3 years, I was preaching at her house. That's prior to us even being friends. Yeah. And then when I started going to the high schools, there she was. When I started building a young adults group, it was, hey, do you want to come with me to IKEA? I remember having pictures of us in IKEA, finding stuff, and there she was. And I was like, she started to teach me what healthy looks like. She started to teach me what investment can do. She started to teach me it doesn't always have to be going out to the greatest or biggest places, but just being there for one another. And in the moments that, one of the moments where I was the most crushed, after doing high school campus missions, it was COVID happened. And the group that we built, that we had, that was shut down because churches were closed. Schools were shut down. Nobody was there. And what was it, like 3 months into like not understanding what was going on, I remember I prayed to the Lord. I was like, God, I was having my quarter life crisis. I was about to be 25. I said, God, I left school because you wanted me to be a high school campus missionary. I didn't pursue a career because you told me to go into ministry. I'm 25, and you know when you're 25, you have like this idea, I'm gonna be married by this time, I'm gonna have this by this time. I said, God, there's nobody, there's no semblance of anything. Like there's nothing here, it's dry as a desert, like there's nothing for me to look at. Everything that you said is no longer here. I remember the Lord rebuked me that night, and he told me, Amy, are you after me or are you after your calling?
Man, save that one for the
other one too. I'll say it again. It's okay.
Put it in your notes.
And I was sobbing with the Lord. Nobody else around, in my room, on my knees, just crying to the Lord, God, I don't see you told me to give all these things up. And sometimes when you give something up, you almost are like, God, you owe me. You owe me because I laid down my life. You owe me because I decided to pursue you. And all of this, high school campus missions, it wasn't paid. None of that was paid. It was actually functioning because I had a clothing line at the time. And who was there at the booth? Tiffany, like selling. And I remember I called her that day. I preached on Zoom and I called her afterwards and I was like, I still don't get it. And she told me, do you believe that you're called? I said, yeah. She goes, then why are you closing a door where God hasn't closed it? You need to still have faith.
Come on, Tiff, with the wisdom.
And you know what? It's sometimes, Greta, and you know this, like sometimes it's the simplest truths that we might be able to preach, but nobody preaches to us. We can say it to a room, but nobody tells us. You can sing it to the room, but nobody tells us. And for whatever reason that night, like I took out my Bible, I didn't have a TikTok, and I read the Bible. The next morning I woke up and it went viral. And she told me, you should put this on Instagram, you should put this on TikTok. It wasn't my idea, she told me. I was like, I woke up the next day, I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. The next day I did it again. It went viral. In a week, I got 11,000 followers. And then she told me.
In a week?
In a week.
Wild.
And she told me, hey, you should preach online just the way that you would preach at the high schools. And she's like, it doesn't matter if 12 people show up, like you're good, just preach online. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I remember I gave the message that I would always preach in the high schools, the struggle is real, but so is God. And that day, like 270 people joined. And I was like, the number just kept going and going and going. And then I did what I would do at the high schools. I said, if you want to accept Jesus, say yes. And then she was on live and she was counting how many people said yes. And it was like over 150 people saying that they wanted to say yes to Jesus. Wow. And that turned into 9 months of sharing the Bible on live from 8 p.m. to midnight every single night because she gave me that word that night when I was broken.
You see, that's what makes me sad about women who have convinced themselves in their heart that they don't need a friend. All I need is my man. And we'll go into it in a little bit, but the man part. But I feel sad for women who have convinced themselves that they don't need a friend, that they don't need friends. I really think that, obviously in the Bible where it says it's not good for man to be alone, everybody always thinks that it's just a romantic kind of thing. And no, it's literally that God means it's not good for you to walk alone. And as you were talking, I was thinking about the verse in Ecclesiastes. I think it's 3:12, right? Or 4:12. Where it says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. And I love that you're saying about that, how when you couldn't even see what God could do, God like put it in Tiff's heart to give you those words. And that's what I feel like that's what a woman who has decided does not need a friend, that's what they miss out on. Because truly, in the same way that you can say that about Tiff, I believe that the ones responsible for now me being a pastor here at the gathering, well, number one is God, but number two is Tyrone and Demi. And because like I was down bad and I felt the same way. I felt like, I won't go too into it, but like I felt exactly how Amy felt, where I was in a season where I was like, Lord, I was obedient, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, but all of these years. And you gonna let this stuff happen? And I was so angry with God. I felt so robbed by God. I felt like there was like no justice in God, you know? And I was like, you out here telling me all this stuff and like, don't you see what's happening? Like I really was in a place where I was like, Lord, I literally was like, I don't want to do anything for you anymore. Like, don't call me. Use somebody else. You got all these soldiers, you know, pick me, choose me, you send me, you know, like, oh, send them. Stop picking on me. Like, I don't want to do anything else, because if this is the end result of being obedient, heck no, I don't want to do anything else for you. This sucks. This is humiliating. You know, like your reputation is trash. Like I was just tantruming before the Lord. You know, and I remember like all I would do was cry, be in my bed, go into my garage, complain against God, be like, you're so unfair, you know? And then it was her who she was like, oh, we can't stay not going to church. We can't stay like not worshiping God. And she said, let's worship in your backyard. And you can speak to that, right? But I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then she was like, nah. And then her and Tyrone started vision casting about using my backyard. And then I saw their excitement. And then I was like, let me not quench their spirit. You know?
And it's because we had gone through a really hard transition, right? So when we started visiting different churches and stuff like that, and I remember us feeling like, man, like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like it's home. I don't know what to do, you know? And I remember telling her, like, I don't know either, but what I do know is that you know how to worship. So we're just going to worship in the backyard because that's what we know how to do.
And it was our plan to just be there for each other as friends and just like worship with one another and hold each other accountable to find wherever God would call us next. That was our plan with the gathering. And then Tyrone out here with his faith, like, oh, you know, I'm going to go to this church and I'm going to ask for these things. And I was just like, truly, I didn't want to quench, you know, whatever the Lord was putting in their heart. But in my heart, I remember showing up and being like, I'm here because my friends want to be here. And
in my head, I thought, let's bring the little guitar, little acapella. But no, not my husband. My husband...
No, he showed up like super early to my house, did a whole band setup, and he was making me sound check. And I remember being pissed the whole time. And every time that my brother Robert puts those videos up, like of there, I feel like you can see the sorrow in my face. And that I was just there because I had friends reminding me it's not the end of the road. And while we find the next step, we're going to worship God and we're going to worship God together. And I remember being like, okay, fine, I'll do this worship night, but y'all better not post it. I said, and the only people that can be invited is mutual friends. If you have mutual friends, you can give them my address, but like, and then you guys are going to have to do the work because like, I don't, you know, I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to do all of this. And then by like the fourth worship night, there's 100 people in my backyard.
The first night was like 60.
I don't know where 100 people came from. I said, I know all of y'all ain't close friends. But it, like truly, I think that, man, this verse is so true. Because, man, the enemy, if you're by yourself, especially if you're in a moment where you're that down bad and you don't want to hear from God, if you don't have another person who is connected to God, who sees what God has deposited in you, you know, and vice versa. There's things that Demi's doing now because I've been like, girl, come on. Mm-hmm. You know, get to it. You have more to give. You have more to offer. And truly, like, we refine each other. I love what Tiff said. Like, her and I, we serve completely differently, you know. Hers is a very behind the scenes kind of ministry. I'm very like, I mean, I have a pulpit ministry. In my mind, neither is less valuable. Like, the work that she does is holy. The work that I do is holy. But man, the Lord has used her to speak into me. And the Lord has used me to speak into her. And same thing with Viv, our friend. Now seeing her, she's now running operations here. And that girl used to be the kind of girl that she was so introverted that if you would invite her anywhere, she'd be like, no, I'm going to go eat pizza in my room. And she was so honest with you. And now to see her running basically this whole church with my husband has been a testimony of the fact that, like, man, sometimes you need a friend to call out things in you that the Lord has put in there that sometimes you can't even see. I don't know if y'all got any words to that.
Well, I think uniquely people can see, because ours is very public, and consider that's the calling. But in
Which
all
I
reality,
hate that.
well, that's another episode.
Yes.
Chill, you know. But they consider that the calling. But then me and you see the other side, and we're like, that's the calling. So I don't know if you guys want to speak into that, like what that's been like for you. Actually, let me read one of the questions that somebody gave, because I thought it was important to how a lot of people feel. She said, how do you discern if somebody wants to be your friend from a genuine place or just gain access to your network and your opportunities? How do you discern that?
I think you take it for face value. You see who they actually are. You see their intentions with, if their intentions are reciprocated, is the friendship reciprocated? Is it only one-sided? I think you do have to see, in some sense, you guys kind of have to also be equally yoked. I think in order for the friendship to be strong and last, you do need to be equally yoked. It can't be one's here in their walk with Christ and one's here. I think it's helpful to have acquaintances or, friends in small groups and stuff like that where, you could pour into somebody else's life, even if they're not pouring into yours, but your own life will be evidence to that person. Oh, God is actually real. God moves in this way in her life. So I do think we should be able to discern what are healthy relationships, who is actually out there to be a true friend and not someone who's just there. I don't know I don't know why they would want to be superficial friends, but
I mean, we've had instances where like it's not to call it out, but just it sometimes happens. Like we've been in conversations where like Amy like invite us so that we can meet like
in your side, there's a lot of times on her end where there's people that want to hang out and it's like for the wrong different motives.
Yeah, to me, like there was even one where like we want to come meet guys at the events. Or we want to come and meet this, or we want to come and do that, and those people are nowhere to be found in either of our lives now. Yeah. And so that's what I mean, not in the sense of like the circles, but what do they really want access to? Because there's somebody that can want to know you, to know access to your secrets, to know access to how you do something, to have access to your vulnerabilities. And so a part of that, and a lot of it is also, trusting your friendship groups to call some things out. Like there's sometimes where she'll tell me like, hey, I don't like that.
You
like
also call me out,
yeah. Like she'll be able to tell me that person's intentions are this, or I don't know how to feel about that. And that's where I trust the Holy Spirit in her, and how God uses her for discernment. And it has this mutuality where it's like there's certain things that I can pour into her, and certain parts that she pours into me. But at the end of the day, like I think one of the languages that I've come to terms with is that other people are meant to show you different parts of God. That is not as easily accessible to you. And so she's shown me different parts of God that I have not known on my own. She's taught me what healthy is. She's taught me what mutuality looks like. Because I wasn't always like that. Like that's a different story, but I wasn't always like that,
Okay, let's be honest.
Because for me to open up is very difficult. And when I came to her, I was in another friendship that didn't pan out. And it was because we were unequally yoked, because the values were different. Not because she's a bad person, but because it wasn't there. And so when I started going around her and being around her, I was like, oh, she's Christian. She has values. She has character. Like from the very beginning, I was calling her my best friend since we were 14 years old, and she didn't want to admit it yet. Because I knew that was prophetic of me.
You're like, let me speak this, Lord.
No, I was telling people, no, she's my best friend. She's like, you said what?
I was like, she's saying she's, I'm her best friend. Oh, okay.
I was telling, happy birthday, bestie. Thanks.
No. I'm glad everything's changed now, though.
Yeah.
No, I love that you guys are using the unequally yoked word, because that is one of the questions that I have. Where a girl messaged me and she said, could you be unequally yoked as friends? And once again, I think that we measure romantic relationships in a certain way, and we don't put that same value in friendships. And here's the thing. I think in friendships, I have accepted things that I would have never accepted from a romantic relationship. And the truth of the matter is that, like, unequally yoked, yes, is, I think, for any relationship. And unequally yoked is not, and let's put this out there, it's not, okay, Amy is a preacher and I also kind of do like altar ministry, so that is equally yoked. No, that's not what that is. It has nothing to do with a position or a platform, but it is like, I like how you said, like, okay, even though she does a very public ministry, but I'm pretty sure that you guys wouldn't be able to be this close of friends if both of you weren't in a serious pursuit in Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's the thing, like, I love ministry so much, and I love the Lord so much. Like, I love his house. I love him, and then I love his house, and I love his people. And this girl knows, like, me and my husband can be here till, like, eternity, and it does nothing for us, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because I do, it's so funny to me because, like, sometimes people see people up there, and you significantly have, like, a bigger following than I do. So I can only imagine that, like, it triplifies. But sometimes, like, people kind of, like, see what you do for the Lord, and then, I don't know, they, like, connect dots that are not even there. They attribute things to you that are not even there. And it's funny because, like, I'm sure if I've gotten those messages, you've gotten those messages, but sometimes I get messages of, like, no, last night I had a dream and the Lord really told me that I'm your friend and all this kind of stuff. And to me, like, I mean, that's sad to me, you know, because, like, I feel like I get it. Like, you're seeing whatever I post online, and
They feel like they know you.
They feel like they know you. And same thing. It's been such a weird thing for me now to be, like, a senior pastor. And yeah, it gets really murky sometimes, like, being like, wait, like, do you want to get to know me? Or like,
What I come with.
yeah. And that's really strange for me because to me, I'd be wiping booty all day long. You know, like hair in a bun. Like, I'm just a toddler mom. I'm trying to figure out, like, this church thing. Like, I take care of my house. Like, my life is, like, not exciting at all, you know? And the truth of the matter is that some people would be like, yeah, I'd love to be her friend. And the truth of the matter is that, like, being my friend sometimes comes with being at church.
No, literally, our entire friendship.
Go
I think that
ahead.
it's true. I feel like people idolize the reality. Is like, you guys have a platform ministry, you know, and people idolize being your friend. But I also think that, and I love you. You are my best friend. But I think that it comes with a different type of weight, a different type of responsibility, you know, that not anybody that doesn't have a platform has to carry. And I think that I learned that the hard way too. Like, I had friends, and, like, I opened up about certain things, and there's levels. Mm-hmm. And I learned that the hard way. And I think that being Greta's friend, I've learned that, like, not everybody should have access to certain parts of our lives, because not everybody has the spiritual maturity to hold the type of things that we see in ministry. And I do think the reason we became friends is because, like, man, we're in church all the time. Like, we're wiping booties at church. Like, literally. We're at church all the time. And I think that people see Greta and they think, like, oh, I want to go have coffee with her and things like that. And they don't realize, like, sometimes our friendship has developed more because we're sitting in those chairs having conversations. It's not because, like, it just takes intentionality. When you have a friend who truly does have a platform, I think that it takes for myself, I think I've had to realize like there are some seasons where I'm gonna have to show up differently for Greta because she's a pastor of this house now. And I think that not everybody is willing to put in the effort. Like they want these deep friendships, or they want somebody with a platform, and they see friends like that and they're like, oh, I want that. But I think that if they really saw like it takes intentionality to have friends like this and to last.
And can I say something? And I think that because I've thought about, like, I've been friends with Tyrone for over a decade, right? And he's one of my longest friends. And then eventually his marriage, like our marriages are super close. But I've thought about, like, well, what was the difference, you know, in relationships that didn't endure and then friendships that did? And the truth of the matter is that, like, as seasons have changed, just because we're friends with each other, we don't have familiarity with each other in the sense of dishonor. And I think a lot of people don't understand that being friends with somebody doesn't mean that you have familiarity and you dishonor the call over each other's lives. Because, like, the truth of the matter is that, like, it's funny because, like, I'm her pastor and I'm Tyrone's pastor, and they do call me Pastor Greta. And it's so funny because, like, I didn't start by being Pastor Greta when I was her friend. I was just a worship leader. And what has really, like, man, I think allowed us to even grow is the fact that as I grow into whatever God has called me into, and as she has grown into what God has called her into, we're not like, don't forget where you come from. Don't forget, like, there's no familiarity and no dishonor. And I think that sometimes, like, in friends, and especially in women, oh, we're good as long as, like, we're the same, and we have no honor, no respect for the anointing that God has put. And I'm not just saying us because we have a public thing, because we could also be like, oh, well, I'm public ministry. Your ministry doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to support you where God calls you. No, like, man, I step into wherever areas she's serving in, where she can tell me, oh, I'm struggling here. It doesn't matter if I'm a pastor. Girl, you need help. I mean, you're primarily running the coffee shop right now and other things, but I'm also not afraid of being like, hey, girl, you need help. Like, doesn't matter who I am. Like, I honor the team God is trusting you with, the women God is surrounding you with, like, the area, and yours is as valuable as mine. You know, like, we might be different, serving differently, but just because more people see me on the mic doesn't mean that I dishonor the call over your life and I don't support you simultaneously.
I think for us, we've had a lot of conversations on how hard it is on her, and I won't speak into, like, it being hard. You can talk about that, because, but it's required a lot of conversations on what she faces because of it, because the reality is they face the battles with you. Either way, whether it's we're taking the hits or they're taking the hits or whatever, we're in this together. And I think that's the big difference between, like, when you're in covenant with each other. I feel that not enough people understand the depth of covenant friendship, where it's like, I choose you, but you also choose me. But God chose us for each other. And I can go on and on about David and Jonathan, but one of the things that I love about David and Jonathan is that Jonathan was willing to lay down his life for the calling over his friend.
Even though he should have been king.
Yes. It was his. And he said he hid his friend. He was there for his friend. He went against his father that God no longer anointed to cover his friend. And the Bible tells us that their souls were knit together. And you know how I feel about this. But no other time in the Bible is soul mentioned. It's not mentioned in marriage. Marriage is you will be one flesh, one body. Never is soul ever mentioned again. And so when I learned this with her, where there's a part of my soul that is knit to her soul because God decided to have us for each other for his glory. Not even for each other. Like, God lets us enjoy our time together because our relationship spans, and this is what I love, it spans outside of church. I'm always in church. Like, she's traveled with me everywhere, wherever it's been. But it's been, let's go get coffee, let's go get food, let's go get this, let's go do this. Like, it's formed outside of that. But at the end of the day, she's laid down a lot for the sake of the ministry. And this is another spiritual thing, but like, I've always told her, I feel like God made me, and she doesn't like the wording, but this is the wording that God gave me, a spiritual guardian over her. Because I told her, there's something about you and your generations and what God's gonna do through you that I can't put into words and I can't quantify. But I'm here to protect it and protect you as much as I can by covering you in the word of God, because I will not let the enemy have his way with whatever he wants to do with you or me. And that's what I believe covenant friendship is, to where I know that my soul is tied to her. Not because I don't believe I won't have a relationship. That's an and. It's an and for me. Grey's Anatomy, my favorite line. And it's true. It's true. Hey, like, we take from the Bible, we take from life.
Quote the show. I love that show.
Say your quote.
She says, Meredith tells Christina, you're my soulmate, but Derek is the love of my life. And I've always had that distinguishing thing where it's like, she's gonna know me in every single verse. She knew me as a kid in Maestrado. She knew me as the person in high school. We didn't go to high school together, but we have.
She wishes.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I really do. Like, to having the years of searching and finding Jesus together in a new way, to then ministry together, like every single facet we face it together. And no one else is gonna have that. No one else is gonna have the conversations we've had, to where I know, and I tell her, sometimes I feel like the word friend isn't even enough to describe to you how I feel about you.
I think we're more like sisters.
Yeah, I said you're like my sister.
Yeah.
Because the Bible tells us that that a friend is there for hard times, but a brother will lay down their life for each other. And I will gladly lay anything down to see God's calling in her life. And I know that she will gladly lay anything down to see God's calling in my life.
Can I say something? I think that, like, a lot of people, they want genuine friendships, but they're not willing to put in the work. I think that a lot of people, they have an excuse. We were talking about it. Like, they say, like, oh, I'm only friends.
I was about to segue that way. Go ahead.
I'm not friends with girls because there's too much drama, or I only need my man and things like that. And I think that in the 5 years of our friendship, I have developed so much. And me and my husband, we've been trying to conceive for 2.5 years now, right? And it has been one of the hardest seasons of my life that I have ever had to go through. And I can genuinely say that I love my husband and he is with me through this. But there is a way that Greta shows up for me in this season that I don't think anybody else could show up for me. And we miss out on a lot of women friendships because we're so quick to quit when the seasons of our life change. And I think that our seasons have changed so much in 5 years. Like, you met me as a girlfriend, I became a wife, and now I'm a wife that wants to have a baby.
In a new relationship.
Yeah, you did.
Because it was a new relationship.
Yeah. And so now me and my husband were 3 years married, and like, we're trying to have a baby, and it can get really, really dark and really, really hard. And I genuinely don't know where I would be if it wasn't for Greta being able to hear me vent, when I'm like, dude, I cannot do this anymore. Like, I am struggling. Like, I'm so frustrated with the Lord. And like, when all of these emotions come, I think that if I would have given up on this friendship because seasons changed, because she became a pastor and life got busy, I would have missed out on such a good thing that God had for me, you know?
Yeah, I think that people like the idea of a deep friendship, and deep friendship takes a lot of intentionality. Mm-hmm. I know that both of you are single, but the same effort that it's taking right now, it's like, it gets a little more difficult, but like, you still, like, if you guys keep knowing that like, oh, this friendship is worth it to me, regardless of the season it's gonna happen. And I love what you said, because like at this point, you met me as a new mom. I met you like when you were first initially dating Tyrone. And at some point we did meet because of Tyrone. But then we started like going out with each other, and at some point she was like, I don't care if Tyrone doesn't marry me.
We're still gonna be besties.
We're locked in. And I would be like, man, I don't care if Tyrone doesn't marry you. Like, we're like, nah, I found you already. Like we found each
found the
other.
good
Like,
thing.
hey, Tyrone, you want to go and settle for less? You go ahead,
Come
my boy.
on.
But like, I'm not. No, it cannot be. You know, like we made that decision, but. I got 2 messages where it says like, it really sucks when you thought you had a deep friendship or you had a bestie and then they get a man and then now there's no time for you. And I really think that is one of the worst mistakes that a woman can make. Yeah. I love my husband. He is my favorite person. Like, he really is. Like, I can do anything with that boy. Like, anything, you know? Clearly, I've given him 2 kids. I enjoy his company. Like, I enjoy him. Like, there's nothing. We can be in a car saying absolutely nothing, and that's exactly where I want to be. But there is areas in my life and in my heart that as much as he loves me, he can't understand. Mm-hmm. With my second baby, I almost died, you know? And, like, as a woman, like, seeing my body was so hard. It was so hard. And like going through that healing process, it was so hard. And I couldn't walk, and my husband had to wipe me and bathe me. And like the only other 2 people that I trusted to like even do that for me was like Demi and my mom, man. Like, but it was like, man, and I don't know why we were texting the other day, but I said, hey, if something ever happens to me again and my man can't wipe my butt, like, just know you're up next, you know? And we
Why
were
is that always a point of conversation? We've had that conversation too. I was like, I know you wouldn't.
Girl, just like, no, like, but this takes intentionality. And the truth of the matter is this. A lot of women like the idea, and I was telling you guys this before the cameras turned on. My sister-in-law posted, everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager. Like, and in the sense of like, yeah, everybody loves the idea of like, show up for me, care about me, be there for me, be there for my marriage, inspire me, push me forward, believe in me. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of women want something that they are not willing to do themselves. And this is now somebody that now has been married, has 2 kids, and still I'm showing up to the sushi night. And the truth of the matter is, like, I made the decision, like, no, I value this relationship in my life. And I love my husband. But there have been areas where we have sat in a car and we have cried. And I have expressed to her, like, man, the dumbest of insecurities, like, I'll be fighting with my husband about something and I'll be like, here's the truth, Demi. You know, like, here's the truth. About myself. Literally, where I'll call her and I'll be like, I gotta go apologize because this is what the Lord said. You know, like, I'm being this and this and that. And then, you know, like, to have somebody in your corner, even for your marriage, for your children, like, and it's so sad. I know that a beginning of a relationship is so infatuating, but if you put yourself in a bubble with that person, you cannot get mad when you iced everybody else out, and now you're sitting somewhere and be like, yeah, I don't got friends anymore. Girl, you don't go out anymore.
You didn't try.
Like, I get it. You want to hang out with your man 7 days a week. You could also hit up your girl one of those days, and your relationship's going to be fine. And if he loves you, he should encourage you to have friends.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I told my man, this year, you're going on a guy's trip. Like, and then he was like, what? And then I was like, no, you gotta go. Like, you gotta, like, whoever you consider your friend, you gotta book a guy's trip, and I'm gonna hold him to it. Like, a weekend, a Friday and a Saturday. Like, go be with men, talk about men things, because my husband works a lot, and he has a lot of responsibility, and, like, I really admire the dude, you know, but, like, just, like, I'm like, no, you gotta go. The same way that I have sushi night, you need something for you. Like, go golfing. Go, I don't know what men do, you know? Like, I don't know what y'all gonna talk about, but like, whoever you consider like you having to connect, like, just go. And I have a hard time with women who say like, yeah, that's the kind of friendship that I want. And here's the thing. If we're not cautious, whatever you want or whatever you want to see longevity in, whatever you want to grow deep, you're going to have to sacrifice for. And so, yes, my daughters know I go to sushi, you know, like, I mean, at least the older one, she has now the idea that mom goes with her girlfriends, you know, and she cries because she says she's a girl too, and she wants to go there too. But my husband honors that day, like my daughters honor that day, and it did become harder, you know, as I had kids. They also accommodate for me. They know I can't be out till 12, you know, like I'm trying to go back by like 9 o'clock because I do have kids. But we have transitioned with each other and have understood, oh, we're living in a different season now. As much as I love my marriage, I also know that if I want my relationship with her to last, then I also have to put that effort. I don't like women who become moms and then expect for the single person or the person who doesn't have kids to always cater to them. No, like, that's not right either. That's not you being a friend. And that's what I have found a lot when becoming a wife and becoming a mom, is that some moms, yeah, you forgot how to be somebody's friend. And I know it's hard. Like, I know that it's hard to put that effort. I know that it's hard to book that date. Like, I know it. Like, but if you really want that relationship and you really want it to grow, like, girl, go meet your friend. No, because, like, I don't invite her for coffee in my house because my kids wouldn't let me. You know, my kids would, like, talk and hug her and want her to play. And that's not a good time to cultivate. So we don't go to each other's houses. We both say, oh, we're going to go out. And so I do think that a lot of women want a friend and they don't know how to be a friend. And then when they get a man or when they have kids, you know, then they expect, nah, if you're going to be a good friend, then revolve around me. And then they get mad, you know, when the person gets tired of revolving around them. And then they're going to blame that person. Oh, yeah, she couldn't take that I have a man now. No, girl. It's just that, like, maybe she got tired of feeling like she was no longer important to you.
Pray for me, guys.
Why?
No.
I'm a good friend.
No.
I'm not worried about you, girl.
No. You know I'm for you. I pick you. I choose you. No, because, I mean, what you're saying is really valuable because you're speaking to a lot of women that are in, like, the marriage phase and the kids phase. But then we've also seen our side of it.
Speak on it.
You want to dive into it? You dive into it first.
I guess just walking in the season of singleness. It's been such a joy and a pleasure to walk the season of singleness alongside with her.
I'm gonna be her longest relationship. I'm holding that.
She's
down.
holding that. She's holding that.
down.
She's gonna hold that over his head. Anyway, yeah, it's been such a blessing. I think the Lord knew what was gonna go down in my life, and I feel that the Lord really did place her in my life, not just for that, for many, many different reasons. But I do think that it's been such a joy and a pleasure to have her be there alongside when there are hard times, when you are single and there are hard times and she's single and there are some hard hurdles in that side too. Yeah, it just helped. Our friendship just helps us, shapes us into, you know, also accountability. You know, you shouldn't be dating him. You shouldn't be going out with him. Is he really something you need, you know? Is he really something, you know? Is it really the man that the Lord has for you? And so, you know, I think accountability between the both of us has been very, very helpful. Not that, I wouldn't say that we need it so much, but it's just walking in the season of singleness together has been fun, because doing it alone, I think, you know, sometimes maybe you wouldn't be single. Sometimes you need someone telling you, yeah. Sometimes you need your friend telling you, no, girl, that ain't it. So yeah, but I do think that having a godly friendship, no matter what season in life, you know, I hope and I pray that, you know, now we are single. Who knows in the future? But I think, although it might be different, I don't think it'll be that different. I think if the intentionality
Correct.
was put in this many years, girl, you're okay. Don't need to worry about much.
You too. No, I'm just kidding.
She worries.
No, so I have a question for both of you, and this is not the singleness topic, but because we are friends and it kind of correlates. So I know of you two, and then there's another group of besties in this church. Their name is Myra and Bree. And they have a very similar relationship to you guys. But what I love about both of those friendships, because you both are single, and I love that both of the friendships are not waiting to live life as soon as a man comes in. And what I've seen from both of you, like, you guys travel and you guys do all of these cool things together, and you guys are, yes, living singleness in a way where, like, man, like, how do I put it? Like, I even see it in the other friendship as well, that neither woman is so thirsty or desperate because they're not putting their life on pause of like, oh, I'm going to travel to Paris when I have a man. It's like, nah, I got my girl and we're going to go to Paris together. Yeah. And like, they've gone like everywhere. Like every year I'm like, where y'all going this year? And they have like a whole itinerary, and I love that. And maybe you guys can speak on that, because I do think a lot of women are putting their life on pause until like, oh, when I have a man, I'll do this. When I have a... And truly, you can live some of those experiences with like a friendship.
You want me to go first? Yeah. You want to go first?
At that point, I think you're putting the man as an idol at that point, because I don't think a man should be the end goal, the whole thing. It shouldn't be everything. It is something beautiful. Marriage is something beautiful. But I do think that we have to stop putting a man as an idol or a relationship as an idol. Yeah, let's be honest, it can be lonely sometimes. Yeah, you wish you were in a relationship sometimes. But just because of that, I'm not going to bash on her, to put her to the side. I have something valuable in my life. So I think, why would I be hurting myself, hurting her, because I'm so focused on not having a man, So I do think that we're very intentional. We like to live life in a good Christian way, We like to enjoy life together, and I do think that, yeah, we're not waiting for a man to enjoy life. And I would encourage, single ladies, go have fun, go live life. You know what? Actually pursue the Lord. This is your best time to pursue the Lord. Give him your years. Tiffany. It really is.
I hear you. I hear you.
Papa, baby.
No, but when I started getting really close with her, she actually taught me, and I tell you this all the time, like the beauty of life. Because during those 4 years that were really isolating, it was ministry, ministry, ministry. And then that turned into us doing ministry trips together. And I was like, she taught me how to pack. She taught me how to, I say ubicarme, to find my way around like an airport. Like she taught me all these things. But then like sometimes we'd be driving and I'm just so like, I'm introvert. I'm a natural introvert. She's extroverted, which is
not really.
She is. I'm more like, I'm okay. Like I can really be in my room and I can really binge shows, and that's some points when I'm like at my happiest, where like just put a good TV show. Right now I'm binging America's Next Top Model. Like that's my world, Go ahead.
No. I used to like that show too.
It's crazy now that you watch the
documentary. But it's crazy that you're going like back.
What do you mean? Oh, like, of course. Did you watch the documentary?
Yes.
Thoughts? Or later?
I mean, okay, quick thought is that like, so some people are judging how we live right now in 2026 and what was going on before.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't
a
blame
different
Tyra.
time.
I'll tell you that. Okay. I don't blame her.
I think she should take responsibility for some things, but
look, when you're pioneering, you don't really think about the mistakes of that time.
Okay, moving on.
Who's gonna reel it in?
No, leave it in. Okay, go ahead.
What I was trying to say is that we would be in the car and like driving somewhere, and she'd be like, "Oh, look at that mountain! A mountain! Oh, look at the ocean! One time, I remember she shocked me. She's like, "You see that fog?" And I was like, "Man, I wonder where that fire's coming." She goes, "No, that's the marine layer." First time I discovered what a marine layer is, because she's always, I mean, you grew up that way with like your family going places and doing things and seeing things and enjoying life. And I didn't know you could. I went to church Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I remember she was like, she would have one day where she would go out with her family and like have this balance. And I didn't know that balance existed. I didn't know that you can enjoy life. You can enjoy outdoors. Don't take me hiking. I don't like that. Like, but like I can enjoy the views, and I can enjoy certain things, or I can enjoy her finding a really good coffee shop or different foods. She met me, chicken tenders and fries. Like that was my go-to meal.
She eat mac and cheese off of the menu all the time. Oh my God. And our friendship was like, no, girl, we can't be doing this anymore.
And so when I started seeing all those things, and this is like 9 years after that we've been doing all these things, I'm like, yeah, life's pretty good.
There's more to life than just a man.
Yeah. Like I'm in all reality, I've always said this. I don't like conversations. This isn't the single ones. I have a lot more to say, guys, don't worry. But like, I've never liked hearing people who are married and say, "You're just so lucky. I wish I was single again." And then I hear single people like, "I can't wait to get married." And I'm like, I don't think the design was ever that. I feel that when you're single, you're meant to enjoy the place. That doesn't mean you don't feel. That doesn't mean you don't desire. That doesn't mean any of that. But when I hear married people say that, sometimes I think, I don't think you enjoyed your singleness that very much. If you're thinking about that, you wish you were again in that season. Because I feel like, and this is my prayer to the Lord, like, if you have me here, teach me to enjoy it. And enjoy you in a way that's unreserved. Like, I'm completely yours. And then when that season comes, I'm gonna be a little bit more reserved, because it's something, it's gonna be different. But I won't look back and say, dang, I didn't, enjoy singleness the most. I won't say that. Because I know that I did. And I know that I did it with someone. And I know that when she's in that season, although I pray for the Lord, like, for the strength and the peace and like, and all of that. I told her I'm gonna get a dog when you have a relationship. But I'm going to be happy for her, because in knowing one another, you know the desires of people's hearts, and you pray for that, you cover that. And so having someone that teaches you to enjoy life and teaches you to see things. I saw this TikTok. I always be referencing TikToks, but don't judge me, guys. I saw this TikTok and this girl saying, a lot of you guys aren't in healthy relationships because you never learned how to be a friend. And I was like, she wasn't even a Christian. Oh, she got a point. I wrote that down as a talking point for my next time. And they said, and then you expect, it's called girlfriend, boyfriend. And it's like, and that's why you don't have friends now, because you never learned how to be a friend then. And now you're trying to have a whole relationship that has different standards, and you didn't learn that either.
It's always that girl also that always jumps from relationship to relationship to relationship, like a guy relationship, and never has taken the time to be in a friend relationship. And they're always the ones to say so much about it, and it's like, girl, you've never done your time.
It's that same girl that posts, all girls are drama. No, girl.
You're the
drama girl. No, like, I know that this episode is going to be a little more extensive than the others, and I'm 100% okay with it, because I think that there's, like, this is an area where women really, really struggle. And this is an area that, like, is not talked, like, everybody at church be talking about finding your man, finding your woman. And I really think that.
Yeah, blame the church for that too.
Yes. 100%. I think that marriage is an idol to a lot of people. And yeah, I think that I don't know who I was talking to this about, but right now that you said a lot of people don't even know how to be friends, like, with their spouse, and that's a fact, because you don't know how to be a friend. And I was I don't know who the heck I was talking about, or who I was talking to, but I was saying, there's a lot more, like, when you're waiting to have sex before marriage, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes you should even, okay, let's say you're not even trying to honor God, you should withhold that to build a foundation that has nothing to do with something physical with your partner. Because, like, that, I mean, I hope that you're attracted to the person that you're getting married to, like, I hope you get excited, like, I hope that, you got to draw lines because you feel attracted to that person. But also, like, one of the things that we don't understand is that even waiting to have sex when you take out the physical, then you can actually build a solid foundation of friendship. And I was telling them, man, after I had Vida, when it took me a long time to walk and it took me a long time to shower myself and all of that kind of stuff, sex was the last thing that we did. And the truth of the matter is that, like, what I feel like has sustained Elias and I, at this point we're going to be 8 years married, but we've been together since we were 16. Mine is a year when he broke up with me, but that's a story for another day. Like, so how many years is that? -1? I don't know. But what has sustained us and allowed us to...
He's in the room too, guys.
Babe, where you at?
He's in the room.
Yeah, over there. But I think what has sustained us through all of this stuff is the fact that at the core of it, man, Elias is my friend. There's nothing that we will not talk about. There's no struggle. Like, there is nothing. And what got us there was the fact that, man, we really were trying to honor the Lord, like, as best as we could. And that came with a whole boundaries that we set for ourselves. But, man, I'm so grateful that we developed such a deep friendship before it ever got physical. It was years of friendship before we ever saw each other naked. And the truth of the matter is that, like, that friendship will pull you out of things, like, when you're deep in stuff and you remember that you genuinely like him as a friend. And I 100% believe that. I believe that, like, if you don't even know how to serve each other as friends, how to be there as friends, man, that's gonna bite you in the butt in a lot of different areas, not just that. And so I think that we 100% overlook the value of being somebody who can be trustworthy, somebody who can be there for somebody else. We have now millennials, like Gen Z. It's so sad because it is the time where we have the most access to each other because of social media. You can know what a person is doing at all times. And there's so many people who are not known. So many people trying to build this facade. And so many people who go back home and are completely alone in their heart, in their mind. And friendship takes effort. That's the truth of the matter. Nobody became this close, right? By it just dropped in your lap. And it's hard because, like, now, like, let's put it in a church context. When people come and they're like, oh, there's no community. Girl, how do you think it's built? And it's so funny because sometimes it's people that book it to their car or who serve on a team and have never asked a teammate, hey, you want to go to coffee? And really putting yourself out there. And sometimes it's going to work out. Sometimes it's not going to work out.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. Like, I was just telling my brother, I was having this conversation with him. Not everybody has to be my cup of tea.
Selective.
Not everybody has to be my cup of tea.
No, we all here love each other. But even Jesus, like, Jesus had 12. And then at that, how many did he have? 3.
Who was there when he was praying? And I constantly put this example. When Jesus feeds the 5,000, they come and they seek them, right? And he goes, you guys are here for the miracle because you are hungry again. And then there's another passage where after he teaches them that he retreats into a house, but not everyone went into the house. They wanted the miracle, but they didn't go back into the house. And so that's where literally the being selective, it's not a click thing. It's I'm guarding my heart thing. Yeah. You don't have access to it.
It's wisdom.
It's wisdom.
It's wisdom. Like, the truth of the matter was that, like, and this is where I sometimes feel like people don't be reading their word.
That's what it all
That's my beef. That's my beef, because, like, it's the truth of the matter. Like, I really sometimes when people are like, oh, no, there's so many clicks at church and, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you never even know how God can surprise you. You never even know. And you already have this negative personality, like this negative view, and you're so cold and you have all these trust issues. Look, I'm a person, I have a bad history, like just like had a horrible childhood, like all this stuff. I lean pessimistic, like I'm a glass half empty kind of person.
She is.
She likes to call herself realistic.
Yeah.
And I've had to lean on the Lord to be like, Lord, you know that I be leaning this way.
But sometimes, let's be real, sometimes I think girls can try to seek for friendships at church, and a lot of times there aren't good people. So I think that's where, how would I say, pray to the Lord that that God gives you a good friendship, because you could be surrounded by a bunch of girls, but they again, they could be in a different walk. They cannot respect your boundaries. They cannot have good intentions. They could be going through their own mess and bring you into their mess and make you believe that their mess is right and all this. And so I do think it's important for girls not to just be friends with just whoever. I think it's important for girls that are looking for friendships to really see I guess qualities like the Lord, what a godly friendship, or what friendships are with Jesus in us, like with us. I got confused, sorry.
No, you're good.
So the qualities of what a friendship, who Jesus is a friendship to us. How he's a friend to us. Those are the qualities that you should be looking for in a friendship. Anything that reflects Christ, that should be the cues of, oh, this is a good person. Mm-hmm. This person checks the boxes that we should be having. To whoever walks into our life, we should be checking those boxes so that they edify our life as well.
In what you're saying, it highlighted to me that sometimes girls are like, yeah, I want somebody who's trustworthy, but you're not trustworthy.
Exactly. It has to be reciprocated.
Yeah, like, oh, I want somebody like, that girl confided something to you, and you just said it to like 5 other people. Like, what are you talking about? And like, people have this I see it like this. One of my pet peeves is like, girl, on social media, like the girl's a queen and don't accept this from a man and this from a man and this from a man. And then a girl can be however she wants, but she has these deep standards for whoever their partner is going to be.
Don't get me started on that one again.
Yeah. This is my pet peeve. And I think it's the same with a friendship relationship. Oh, you want that girl that will take you out for coffee, but you wouldn't take anybody out for coffee. Oh, you want to be pursued, but you don't know how to pursue. Mm-hmm. Oh, you want to trust your secrets to somebody, but God forbid somebody tells you where they're struggling before you use it against them. Mm-hmm. And so I really do think that women can be blind to where they're falling short. Mm-hmm. And then they're looking on the outside. And the truth of the matter is that if I had superficial relationships before, I can sit here and be like, yeah, they were superficial and they were not good friends. And that would be dumb of me because I have to look inwardly. Mm-hmm. Why was I in a superficial relationship? Mm-hmm. That was because, you know what? I was superficial too.
And it might even be a deeper issue, like you don't even trust the person. One of the things that, as both of you were talking, I was like, there's a really big difference between friends and like Christian friends. Some people might not even want a Christian friend because a Christian friend has to hold you to a different standard. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to hear standards, but hey, standards are standards and they exist in any relationship. There's a way that you expect a person to show up, or a way that a person's supposed to act, a way a person's supposed to be. And sometimes there's even people in church, be real, you come to church because you want a therapeutic fix for how your life is going, but you don't really want Jesus. And so you come in like a drug addict and you say like, let me get my fix. But I don't want community here. I don't want friends here because you still got your friends out there. The ones that are okay with your sin.
Correct.
The ones that are okay with your addictions, the ones that are okay with your bad habits, the ones that, let anything go because there's no judgment there. I don't go to church because they judge me there. No. There's standards. Not that everybody's going to be there exactly there. Like the person she met me at is not the person that I am now. Mm-hmm. But there's a commitment to grow together. But sometimes it's that you don't actually want a godly friend.
Oh yeah.
You just want somebody to appease you.
You like the idea of it.
You like the
Yeah.
idea of it.
You like the idea of it, but it's not.
You know, a joke that we have is I reflect her and she reflects me.
Oh yeah.
And that
Don't
should be your
embarrass me.
standard.
Yeah.
If you want a best friend, look at someone who you want to reflect you. That's a great example, or like how you can see, you know what? This is a good friend. This is a good person. She reflects me, I reflect her. And so that's...
Yeah. And the way that we
she's
say
selective.
what we say is, don't embarrass me out there. Like,
Yeah.
the way that you show up in the world is the way that I'm showing up in the
especially
world.
in ministry.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, in anything, but yeah, in ministry, like you just won't be around everything and be around everyone. And it is how you show up is how I show up. And it's a commitment to show up, not just for each other, but at the end of the day, we're representing Christ.
Yeah.
Like I've said it up here, like how many times have you called me out when she's like, you're not being very Christ-like. There's been those conversations. There just, what was it, last year or somewhere around last year when I didn't want to go to church. Let's put it that way. Like I wasn't, and she goes, you spend a little too much time.
Yeah, that sabbatical is looking a little long.
When does it end?
I was like, you need to get back to it. If not, you're gonna walk away. I had already sensed it. I was like, no, we gotta get you plugged in somewhere because you're just gonna be online again.
Those are facts. And the truth of the matter is that, like, still in church, two girls can go to church and two girls might not be in the pursuit of Christ the same. And that's just the truth, you know? And a girl could be like, yeah, I want accountability. Okay, girl. So when I call you out and say, why are you dating that man? Why are you with that man at midnight? Like, I thought you... And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're talking about me? You're judging me? Like, blah, blah, blah. Girl, be for real.
Philip Anthony Mitchell, how's he go? Why are you taking her to Cabo?
Like, be so for reals right now. Like, be so for reals right now. Like, you didn't want accountability, huh? You just wanted no, I have somebody checking on me. No, you don't. Like, no, you don't. You're not open to that. But one of the last things that I kind of want to touch on, and we've been talking a lot about, like, I know that you two serve differently, us two serve differently. I feel like since last year, I've been developing a friendship with Amy. And it's really hard. If it's hard to find friends in church, it's even harder to find friends in ministry. And I know that we could go extensive on this, but I'll say...
It's a whole other episode, friends.
Yes. But I will say this. Right before I met you, I was praying to God because, like, I feel very fulfilled when it comes to my friends. But there was an area that I felt like I needed to be sharpened in. And I felt like I needed a friend that would also cover that kind of a blind spot for me. And so I started to pray for a friend who understood, you know, like some of the things that the Lord has allowed me to carry and would help me even accountable, you know, in a far greater way in there too. And it was funny because then as I was making that prayer, you posted the story of the gathering, right? And I clicked on your page, and then I was just like, you know, like I saw your following, and then I was like, oh shoot, it's like that's intimidating, you know? Because I think sometimes, like, a person, I swear, has 500 followers, and then you sit with them, and I don't know about you, but it's so annoying to sit with somebody, be like, yeah, and God's been using me here, and I've been going all around the world, and I have 100 invitations, and then you're sitting with like a robot, and you're like, dang, like, I get it, you're popular, everybody wants you, you know? And so I was just like, okay, God, like, I'm not gonna make this move, or I'm not gonna assume that, like, this is the connection. But I said, but there, like, if she does, then, like, have her, like, message me. And I think on your end, you were doing the same prayer, and we ended up going out. And I remember sitting there with you and being so impressed by your humility. And we sat there, and no, I don't think we ever sit and be like, oh, you know where I'm going next, girl? Like,
No.
And we just started, you and I could talk for like hours on just like the Bible and God, and you challenge me and you make me see certain things that I never saw in the Word. And I know that this could be a whole separate episode, but I just want to say how grateful I am for even meeting you. And I'm so thankful that even though at one point I was a person who completely was shut down my heart to anything new or a possibility of anything else, I feel very proud of myself, because even though I can lean pessimistic and very skeptical, like I've allowed the Lord to keep my heart open. And as I've allowed the Lord to keep my heart open, He has blessed me with more than I could have prayed for. And so even in that, I was intentional about praying about one of the things that was my blind spot. And then I met you, and sitting down with you and telling you sometimes some of the frustrations that I carry with, let's be honest, Hispanic church and all that stuff. And then having you hear me out and being able to, like just be refined in there. And so I'm so grateful that even in ministry where, yes, people are looking to climb and do all of this, that still people like you exist. To where, girl, if you never post me on your socials, who cares? And I'm pretty sure you feel, girl, you don't need my socials, But like, I'm saying, like, so many coffee dates that we have had and no one will ever know about, because who cares? Like, even in ministry, you could still find genuine friends.
I think I want to tell off of the last thing that you said. Not posting everything has been one of the challenges she gave me, because you can get so consumed with posting who you're associated with and not really being in the moment of who you're in front of and what you're doing. And I realized that after time, I never wanted to be ministry or what's visually seen to be me. That's an outpouring. And that's what people forget, that ministry is just an outpouring of what happens in the secret. And when I came to the gathering, every time that you hear us say the person that walked in and out, that was me. Walking in and out of this place for what, Tiffany, a year and a half where nobody really knew?
No, I don't think that a lot of people realize that you've been coming to the gathering since Bellflower.
Yeah.
That's how fast she left.
Yeah. Yeah, dipped right afterwards. And it was because I always said prior, I am never going to do Hispanic church again. I said that. I'm never going to do it again. I don't want to deal with it. I had 21 years of it. I don't want to do it. But then after a while, I was like, dude, I'm missing the songs. I'm missing the worship. And I actually saw you a long time before in Palm Springs, which I came to now find out was your first time singing after
many years.
After many years. And Tiffany had actually told me that she had seen you on YouTube, and we went in for a session. I was like, dang, she's good. And I've followed you since then. So I came to the gathering because I had followed you since, what was that, probably 2016, 2017?
It was right before you saw me singing right before the pandemic.
Oh, then 2019.
Because, I was like, God is unleashing me. And then there was a pandemic.
Yeah.
Goes nowhere.
So like 2019, around then. And then I finally made it to the gathering. And it was with no expectation besides...
We were coming to receive, honestly.
To receive. To sit, to receive. No other expectation. And leave it to God that the thing that you say never to is what He's going to call you to. And that happened, I think we didn't meet until like maybe a year and a half or 2 years afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we sat together, it was talking about Bible and talking about like the complexities of Hispanic church, but also talking about the hopes behind it. Because anything that you're frustrated with is because you low-key have hope about it.
Yeah.
And there was always something that I've told her multiple times where I'm like, man, like if the Hispanic church could just get it right, we could bring the spirit and we can bring the truth. Like like there's just something there. And I felt like this, you're called to this. Like she would joke, she goes, you see yourself there, huh? You see yourself there. And I was like, nah. Like I'm okay where I'm at. And she was like, no, I know you. I see you with what you're
Yeah.
She knew before I did. And she would start telling me, you feel like going home. I'm like, no, I'm fine. And a lot of times that's what a best friend does. Like, they see something that before you see it. But then sitting with you that day, I was like,
There's hope.
yeah, maybe.
There's hope.
Maybe. Like, because I never entertained the thought before that time. Like, maybe. And then you tell me that you're doing Gathering Girls. And it's like your first one, I think. Like
Yeah, girl.
Yeah. And then I want you to hear the humility in this, because anyone that's doing anything new, they'll be up on stage. Why you told me to do it, I have no idea. And I remember when you said that, I was like, dang, she has humility to ask somebody else, because that should have been your spot if you would have functioned the way that I think Latino church functions.
Yeah.
And then that opened my heart up a little bit more. And then when I spoke at that first Gathering Girls, I went on my knees, and I promise you, I started speaking in tongues, and I had spoken in tongues in a long time. And it was because my heart knew what my head didn't want to accept yet. And I thank you for that, because something in me that I thought was irreparable, God began to piece together. And that day, it's I don't believe in signs or symbols or whatever, but I know that day there was a butterfly that was on top of me that whole first preaching. And for the next part of that year, I just kept seeing butterflies, butterflies, butterflies. And it made me think, maybe something can change.
God was just like, go to the gathering, stop playing games.
And I still came for a year and a half afterwards, just attending. But God was cultivating something in me that I didn't think had healing anymore, or had a place in my life I didn't have vision for anymore. And now at, what is it, second, third Gathering Girls? Is it the third?
I don't even know how many we've done,
Well, now I'm here.
bruh.
Now I'm here. And that's because you took the chance in reaching out to me and telling me, let's go grab coffee, and one thing led to another. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Well, it is not good for man to be alone.
Amen.
So find you a friend.
At the Gathering Girls Conference.
Yeah, come with an open heart.
On April
24 and 25.
And we'll see you here.
Bye-bye.